Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mystery Theory. Today, we're going to talk about America's most wanted / haunted. This is going to be shared in two parts because we are going to talk about places, crime scenes, really, where this took place, and we have a lot of things to cover. So today I'll be doing soft spoken. The next part will be whispered. I am today in a cattle ranch, so if you hear a little wind chimes or mooing, that's why. But before I start with today's video and cases, I want to say thank you to everyone that's been leaving comments and ask you to please continue to leave your comments regarding the video itself. If you want to say hello, share where you're from, if you're new, whatever you want to share, even an emoji. So that will help my channel with the algorithm. For those of you who are interested in more content, I have a Patreon, and we are covering some disappearances that are not very well known. We did Hawaii, and then Alaska, and some of those cases that sadly slip through the cracks and get lost. However, these people are still loved by their families and friends, and we should share their cases no matter what. You can also choose to become a member. All the information about the different ways to support the channel will be in the description box down below. Now, you know something is wrong when you see things that don't really belong. This could be a plant that was on the table and now it's in the bedroom. It could be your keys that you know you hanged, or it could be even worse if you see people, strangers really, inside your home. If you're sleeping in the middle of the night, you start to hear something out of place. You smell something weird, or your pets start behaving differently. I think that's more than enough to get anybody worried. Only in the US, there's between 3 to 5,000 haunted houses, and they are all very different crime scenes. But the residents today in 2021 are quite similar. Before I share this top 2, I want to quickly mention a few that didn't make it into the top list. Have you heard about the Florida Riddle House? Well, it is a well-known place that used to be a funeral home. However, it is said that now you can hear rattling chains and soft voices. Why? Because at the time, chains were used for lifting some of the heavy things they used, and it was a costume or something they did to use soft voices to be respectful of the dead. Nobody claimed this to be a crime scene, but without being one, it's seen a fair share of people that passed. Some in a very peaceful way, and others not so much. The other quick mention is about the Latta plantation in Huntersville, North Carolina. This one is weird because you can be in some specific spots of this house and be attacked by a swarm of ladybugs, which, if you ask me, I'd rather go that way. Ladybugs are kind of cute, but that's not it. As you get closer to the house, everyone or most people will smell apple pie, but nobody is baking, and this smell is not real. So I guess the question is, are these places haunted? Or is the power of suggestion making you say stuff is not really there. I have to add my own story after reading about the apple pie scent. I drive a lot. I'd say on a typical day, I do drive about 100 miles. And 25 miles or so, typically going back and forth would be 50 miles a day. I go through a mountain range. It's up and down, and it's a curve after the next. My neighbors that are very used to the road that drive fast. But for the most part, it is pretty isolated. If it's not a neighbor going or coming back from work. I started noticing one night as I was driving back home in the middle of nowhere, coffee. I could hear the coffee percolating and the strong scent of very strong coffee. And I even asked my son, who was with me, "Can you smell it?" He said, "Mom, I don't smell coffee. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no farm or ranch for miles. And I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to hear coffee percolating." Come to find out that the smell, I thought it was coffee, was a skunk. You're probably thinking, what? But let me tell you something. Still to this day, every single time I drive, I smell coffee. But in reality, everyone else is being disgusted by the smell of a skunk dead in the middle of the road. All of that to say is that I believe that people can see things that others can't. I am not saying that it's a ghost coffee, but I'm saying it's hard to be that person who feels and sees things that no other can. But in these cases, we're talking about the most highly rated haunted houses in America. And these things that people see, feel, or smell are experienced by most and not by one, like in my case. So let me tell you about Franklin Castle. Back in the year 1881, a German banker, Hans Tiedemann, decided to build a mansion for his family on Franklin Boulevard in Cleveland, Ohio. He wanted to go all out and planned the mansion to have 30 rooms and even a tower, a very typical Queen Anne style architecture piece. But Mr. Tiedemann was evil as he was rich. He was known for being very abusive, and eventually his mother, his wife, his children, and even a servant died in the house under mysterious circumstances, all within a short time in between. The Romano family was the first one to move in there that reported that there was something seriously wrong with the house. He said that in repeated occasions, this kid, who is not a real kid, would go to his family and say, "Move out, or you will die in this house." There are some other witnesses that claim that they've seen a woman dressed in black in a window. The servant was known to sit in front of that window. She always wore a black dress. To make things worse, the 70s, skeletons of young children were found in a sealed room there. It was said that they were probably used as a medical training kind of situation, but it would have been easier to assume that after so long, these bones could only go back to the time when Mr. Tiedemann allegedly committed those crimes. Number 2. And if you notice a difference in my voice, it's because I am finishing this video after I got sick. Hopefully, it's still okay. Now, number 2 is the plantation of terror. This is located in Louisiana. Myrtle's plantation was built in the year 1796. is believed that 12 people live there, and none of them got out of the house alive. It is said that you can hear these people footsteps and even their handprints on mirrors. But to make a little bit more sense of this, let's talk about Chloe. Chloe was a slave who was forced to be the owner's lover. Her owner's name was Mark Woodruff, and according to my research, she was caught while trying to listen to a conversation through a keyhole. So he decided to cut her ear. We all know this was a terrible time, and that slaves had to put up with a lot of abuse. And in this case, it was sexual. She got tired of it, so she decided to feed the entire family a cake that was poisoned. So she not only got rid of Mark, but also his wife and 2 daughters. Other slaves decided that what she did was wrong and hanged her, and then allegedly threw her body in the Mississippi River. Something you should know about Chloe is that she always wore a green headpiece. She was trying to hide her missing ear with this as well after the incident. And today, people that don't even know this story claim that they've seen a lady that is wearing a green headpiece. Now, a lot of people, when there's a story like this, think that could be what's it called? Like a legend or something made up. But for this place, things kept happening. In the year 1850 to 1871, Drew Winters was the owner. He lived there and he died there. Apparently, this other guy broke into his home and he was killed by this stranger. The footsteps that you can hear there are believed to be his. People, I feel like they like to milk these situations, for lack of a better word. And today is a bed and breakfast. That, by the way, I would love to have a bed and breakfast. That's kind of my, dream. Part of the dream when I moved to Oregon. But not because of this reason. The people that own this place now, they dare visitors to stay for the night. And things happen when they stay. There was this incident when somebody was held down to the bed during her stay. In case you're wondering, she slept in the kids' bedroom. She said that she was paralyzed and couldn't move or cry for help, as she was frozen in the situation. There was countless other visits that ended pretty bad, but hers is a well known case. Now, of course, this for some people is not proof, or it's not enough to prove that this is real. But all I can say is that when you start to listen or smell or see things that others can't, most people believe that you're either going crazy, they diagnose you with something like schizophrenia, see if they were experts in the matter, and the other option is to call you a liar. But have you ever put yourself in these people's shoes? The ones that do experience it. The ones that do see stuff that others can't. I don't like to, kind of hype up these ideas or hauntings, for lack of a better word. But if you ask me, I do believe that there is something else in this world that is not necessarily human. Some religions believe that's not possible. Others believe that they are demons that dwell in this place. But all I can say is I can't even imagine being in a place with that dark of a history. I know plantations are known as some of the most visited tourist attractions, where you learn about the history of the place, the people that live there, and you kind of put a place in your head that before it was a page in a history book. But if I'm being honest, I do believe that places that seen like walls that were present when evil actions were taking place over and over. Like in the previous video where we talk about that island where they were quarantining people and nobody was watching over them, no connection with the outside world. You can only imagine what the people that lived there must have felt like. To be abandoned in an island, sick and alone. So whether you believe in haunted places or not, my description of this places is things, spaces, walls, or just places themselves, even rocks that witness evil. I feel like sometimes they're like magnets that absorb the energy of the people that were there and suffered. There is something that connects us to nature. Even if you are not a nature lover, there are signs and things you look out for to tell you when a storm is coming. If the next day it's gonna be sunny, you can see the stars at night. It's a big connection between humans and this planet Earth. And so, in my opinion, whether it's a house or an island, a beach or a prison, those places that have seen suffering, abuse, torture, things that are unfair, that kept happening without being stopped. Yeah, I do think they're haunted. But I don't know if by spirits or if by that energy that the people that suffer through it left behind. Whatever it is, I respect it and think that you're entitled to your opinion in this matter. But to me, how tragic it is to believe that somebody was in that situation and felt helpless. I was talking to my friend the other day and I was telling her, Cindy, I think that the one thing that really leaves me hopeless is when I know I can't do anything about it. I get anxious and I want to do all the things, and I know that nothing that I will do will change it, but I think my worst fear is feeling helpless. Having a situation and not being able to do anything about it. So when I put myself in the situations where I think, oh my goodness, if this was happening and I was there, I wouldn't be able to do anything. I think all that suffering, all that hopeless people maybe are the cause of these hauntings or these haunted places. Or maybe it's a little bit more religious. That's gonna be up to you. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. I truly appreciate your support, your kind words, and excuse my lack of voice. I really have a lot of content ready for October, and I feel like my asthma's really gonna last a while. So hopefully the whispering ones will be a little bit different and not so noticeable. I would love to know what you think about this. Do you think there's such things as haunted houses? Do you think it's a demon or a bad omen, or I don't know what to call it, but more spiritual that's behind these houses? Do you believe, like I do, that their pain is what's left behind, their hopelessness? Or do you think something different? Maybe you think this is made up. I would love to know what you think. I'm gonna try to do a whispered true crime case now for Friday. We're at the beach and it's super nice day today. Brought Hope to work with me today. She's sleeping very peacefully now in her couch with her blanket. So hopefully I'll have more content ready. I also been working on a new exclusive for Patreon video. Hopefully I'll have enough voice to do this couple more. I'll talk to you guys next time.